All right, good morning all. Please indicate by typing yes if you can hear me. All right, thank you very much. Once again, good morning and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. My name is Don Deyo, taking you on this morning's money market review. Looking at a couple of currencies, and also we'll be seeing what is in store for us as traders this week. So once again, I want to welcome you this class. All right, so starting our analysis, we'll be looking at the fundamental calendar. On the fundamental calendar, it's always important that whenever you're doing your analysis, start off by looking at the calendar. You want to see what is in store for us this week. So usually we'll be using the forexfactory.com, www.forexfactory.com. So I will quickly share my screen so that you can see the calendar. All right, so this is the calendar for this particular week. We are looking at the calendar for the entire week, which is from Monday to Friday. Now, we have few impact news today. Very few high impact news for today. This is Monday, the 16th of October. So on the United States dollar, I have one of the members of the FOMC speaking. Now, it's not a high impact news, but likely going to have an effect. Now, for the remainder of the week, we have some high impact news for this week. Table of them is unemployment claims and also the building permit. So these are some of the high impact news for this week. So, but as for today being Monday, we have just a few. In fact, I barely see much movement in the market today because of the less impact news, less high impact news calendar. Remember that these high impact news are catalysts which the market to do what it is reluctant to do technically. So the high impact news are like the fuel that drives the market. Without them, markets, might just be sluggish. So looking at the calendar, we do not have much for today. So let's now go back to the charts and see the currencies or instruments that we can trade. So I will now be sharing my screen, my charts. All right, so the first instrument we will be considering or we'll be looking at is the US index. So I'll be looking at the US index, that is the dollar index. Now, the reason why the dollar index is very, very important is because it helps us to see the overall direction of the dollar, that is the dollar with basket of other currencies. So it is always very important that analysis should begin with this particular index, because once we are able to get the overall direction of it, it's going to be easier for us to pass the movement on other currency pairs. It's going to be easier for us to forecast the movement on other currency pairs. So quickly, we'll be looking at, sorry, I'm having sorry, I'm having some. All right, sorry for the breaking transmission. I had some network challenges, but it's now. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Now we are currently looking at the dollar index. So we'll be starting our analysis with the dollar index. We want to see what the dollar has in store for us. And then from there, we can project the analysis done on the index and other currency pairs. So usually I start my analysis by looking at the daily time frame, that is the D1. Now on the D1, what I am looking for is not the overall movement of the markets current month we are in. Now, if you look closely, notice that the whole of last month, that is the month of September, we've been in an uptrend. You can see the trend line I have just drawn on the charts. We've been in a steady uptrend from the whole of last month. And then what we notice this month is a little bit of a retracement on the dollar index. So we can see this retracement to the downside. And then now we have begun a movement back up, or a movement to the upside again. We have retraced down earlier this month, downside. As you can see, just drawn a channel in the dollar index. And now we are seeing further movement to the upside. So there's a high tendency that we might proceed higher beyond where we are now, which means I am looking at the index getting all the way up to this point. So I'm envisaging that the index will get all the way up to this shaded portion you see on the screen. Let me color this. So my anticipation is that the index will get all the way up portion, and that's an area of resistance. So let's call that an area of resistance. So what I'm expecting from the US dollar is movement to the upside, then possibly drop from that region. So in a nutshell, we can say that the dollar is currently strong. So whatever instrument will be trading that has the dollar, considering buying of the dollar at least for this particular week. Today, even though we know that the dollar is currently strong, there might be some retracements that would likely occur in period or within the day. All right, so let me now drop down to much lower time frame. So this other region I have marked on the screen are areas where I'm expecting the dollar to kind of retrace before moving further upward. This is some of the areas, just one of these areas. I'm expecting the dollar to retrace back down to this. Let me go down to the H4. So on the H4, this is what we currently have. This is what I'm seeing for today. All right. So what do we have? Now on the H4, it is very clear that the whole of last week, there was a massive push to the upside. Now, usually at this point, what I will be doing is I'll be using my Fibonacci now to measure the degree to which the market can is. Remember, we are seeing a push to the upside from this point. Look at my cursor. From this low point all the way up here. I'll be using my Fib to draw from the high, from the low of last week high. That gives me a region between this area. So around this area, now this is where I'm expecting dollar to retrace to before further movement to the upside, which is very typical. Because today being a Monday, it is very likely that the movement we are anticipating for the week, that is the further appreciation of the dollar, may not take place immediately. You know, sometimes the market will sluggishly move in the opposite direction. Then within the week, it moves all the way up. I'm expecting a drop of the dollar, not a drop, a retracement on this move down before we start seeing movement to the upside. So this is what I am envisaging for the dollar index. Also take note that up here, we have this resistance. We have this resistance, which is very possible attraction to the price. Market is likely to be attracted to this week. But before we move to that point, expect a kind of retracement, which is something that is very typical on Mondays. Mondays are usually characterized by certain retracement before a further move to the upside. So already we are in an uptrend. If you look at the previous movement of this, you notice we are already in an uptrend. Now we've broken to the high point. Now look at this. This is the highest price we've gotten to so far. It's up there. Now this is the low that created that high price. This 2 points here was the point that created the high price which we have seen so far. Our market has retraced, but take note that market did not go below that particular low, which means we are still in an uptrend, even though we see massive retracement to the downside. So long as this particular low here is secure, I am referring to this marked with the red lines. As long as this low is secured, the market has not breached, then we are still in an uptrend. That reason, we'll be considering only buys. Only buys. We'll be considering buying of the United States dollar. But at the interim, today being Monday, I am anticipating a retracement. I am anticipating a retracement on the dollar index before a continuation upside. All right, so that having been said, we can now look at some other currency pair. So the first currency pair we'll be looking at is the euro dollar. This is the euro USD. Give me a few minutes to clear my charts. All right, so this is the euro dollar. Now, if we are anticipating a further movement to the upside, the dollar index, and also for today being Monday, we're expecting a kind of retracement, then we should expect that the euro USD to appreciate a certain level. So we are looking at euro USD on the D1, that is the daily time frame. The daily time frame, I will mark out some areas where I am anticipating that the dollar or the euro index, the euro USD, will likely retrace to. Take note that we are actually in a downtrend, which means on the euro USD, we should be going down. The market should be selling. We are actually selling on the euro USD, but at the interim, I am anticipating a retracement to the upside. So how far can we retrace? All the way up to this region, which I have not shaded in red. I am currently looking at the euro USD. So the instrument on the chart is euro USD. So a retracement up to this region before we now begin to see the movement to the downside. So let me now drop to a much lower time frame, which is H4. All right, so on the H4, this is what we have. Now, just like I did on the dollar index, I will draw my fib from the highest price of Friday. This is last week's highest price. I'm dragging my fib all the way to the lowest price of last week. Now, this is what I currently have. So I am hoping to see a retracement all the way up to this region. So once I see a retracement to this region, I will initiate a sell. So the question most of you will most likely be asking now is, so what do we do at this point? We sell or should we be buying? Right? That's a good question. So, but take note that this is my expectation of the euro USD. It's actually in a downtrend, but at the interim, I am anticipating a kind of retracement up to this region before we now proceed to the downside. So this is what I'm expecting. But it would be best to sell than to be buying. So it is best to sell than to buy. So for those of us that would still want to, sell, to buy, because since some persons will say, if the market is going to go all the way up here, then why don't we buy all the way up here? Yes, that can be done. So we will look for the best place for us to buy all the way up, but have it at the back of your mind that euro USD is downtrend. All the structure points to the fact that the euro dollar will be going down. So what we are anticipating, at least for the entirety of this week, that the euro dollar will move down to the downside, will move down. So, but for today being Monday, I think we can anticipate a movement to the upside. a retracement. You can take advantage of the retracement that is likely to occur in the Euro USD. We'll drop down to the H1. Now on the H1, where can we be buying? So this is how we'll be initiating a buy with the hopes that market moves all the way up. So my buying will occur within this region. So I'm expecting the market to get down here before we actually buy. So at this point, I'll be placing a pending order. I'll be placing a pending order. Buy limit pending order. So my buy limit will be placed at my buy limit will be placed at this particular price, which is 1.05. I'm placing the buy limit at 1.05100. So let's use 1.0550. 1.05150. That's the buy limit. 1.05. All right. The buy limit at 1.05150. That's the buy limit. On Euro USD, buy limit 1.05150. Now take note of what I said earlier, that this is more like saying we are buying to sell. Now we want to buy all the way up to, we are buying all the way up to, so our take profit will be at 1.05700. 1.05, let's use 1.05700. That is where our take profit will be. 1.05700. Now, whenever the market gets to 1.05700, then what you should be doing at that point is a sell consideration. You now be looking at a sell. So you should be looking at a sell within that region of, I'll show you the region where you should be considering a sell. But for today, in Monday, buy up to that point. So we'll be selling within this. Once the market gets to this point, we'll now think of a sell that region. So our take profit is placed at about 57 pips, at about 55 pips current from our entry price. Now, where would we be placing our stop loss? Now, we are going to be placing our stop loss below the last week's low price. Now, if the market reach this last week's low price, then it means that there's a high tendency for the for Euro USD to continue to the downside. But if it doesn't reach that price, then we are still going to buy up to our price. Now, take note that we are capitalizing on the retracement. We are actually trading the retracement, nothing else. We are trading the retracement, but our overall bias on the Euro USD is to the downside, is a sell. But for today, since we are anticipating a retracement, we can take advantage of that retracement and then position ourselves properly to sell. But for those of us that are conservative, those of us that want to be very right per se, then you wait for the market to come to the region of 1.05700. 1.05700, which is this area I've just shaded. So if you are very conservative and you want to wait, you have the patience to wait, then wait for the market to come to 1.05700 and then you sell. But for those that want to take a trade, those that are a little bit aggressive, then you have a good opportunity to buy at 1.05150. So you can buy at 1.05150 using a buy limit, or and wait for the market to come to 1.05700 or you sell. All right, let me quickly go through Let me quickly go through the comments so that I can. Please, I'm seeing some comments that there are no audio. Please, if you can hear me, indicate. Some persons are saying they cannot hear me. Please, if you can hear me, just type a yes. All right, thank you very much. I think that's good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. All right, some persons are saying I should recap. So I'm saying that for Euro USD, we are anticipating a sell to the downside, but I am envisaging a mild retracement. That retracement, we can trade it. You can take advantage of that retracement. And I'm saying that the retracement, I would prefer to be buying at 1.05, 150. So a buy limit is appropriate at 1.05, 150. They take profit at 1.05, 700, and a stop loss at 1.0493. That is for Euro USD. All right, so let's look at the Pound USD. Now, the Pound USD and the Euro USD should be doing virtually the same thing. They are almost, they are correlated currency pairs. So what we are seeing on the Euro USD, we should expect the same thing on Pound USD, but at a much faster pace. Yes, we should expect that to happen on Pound USD at a faster pace. That being said, move to USD CHF. Let's look at USD CHF. All right. So on USD CHF, stop loss for buy limit on Euro. Stop loss for the buy limit on Euro USD is at 1.04936. 1.04936. All right, I think gold will be appropriate. So let's quickly use gold. Let's go for gold. Give me a few minutes to clear my charts. So I'm currently looking at gold. And let's see what gold has in store for. Give me a few minutes. All right, so on gold, I am starting with the D1. So this is D1 on gold. Now we can see the massive movement to the upside from last week. I mean, for this month so far. So gold, we have gotten up to the point where we can say we have hit a resistance. We are currently at a resistance level. The area you can see shaded red, that's our resistance level. Just like we have seen in the USD, in the dollar index, and the Euro USD, there's a high tendency that having massive resistance up here, we should expect a mild retracement. And we see that gold is already retracing. So the next question we should be asking ourselves is, how far can it retrace? Like, how much should we project this retracement? Now, to do that, drop down to a lower time frame. I'll be using the H4, and then we will use the Fibonacci to try to see the extent to which this retracement is possible. So I'll draw my feed from below last week up the way to the high. And then I will be marking the 61.8 and the 71 placement. This is region, this is below 50%. This is around 61.8. What that simply means is that I am expecting a retracement all the way to about 61.8 retracement of meant from last week. So this is where I am anticipating that gold will retrace to, or we consider a buy. I'm expecting a movement all the way down here. So remember, the bottom line of the analysis is that we are expecting a mild retracement on the dollar, even though we are already seeing that the dollar is strong, so which means we are anticipating a continuation of the upward movement in the dollar, but there's a possibility of a retracement on the dollar. So with that said, I would be anticipating that gold will be a sell for today. We're expecting movement to the downside. So I can say we are expecting a movement to the upside rather, not downside. We're expecting a movement to the upside for gold. So for now, what do we do? So this is what we do. We're waiting for the market to retrace. So this is where I will be expecting the market to retrace down. Will not be too far. So the movement down to this region or possibly go up. So I'll just draw a line, see what I'm anticipating. This is it. And then the upside, what I'm expecting. The retracement, which is this move to the upside. Remember that if the dollar is weak, there's a tendency, if the dollar is strong, there's the tendency for gold to go down. It doesn't always happen in that fashion. And that is what you will notice. Once the dollar is weak, gold will be, yes, not 100%. Most times, that is how it works. Because if you look at the activities for last week, the dollar has been strong last week, but you notice gold has been moving in an upward direction. So this is our analysis for gold. An initial move to the downside before we see a push the upside. So at this juncture, we can take a buy on gold. The stop loss at the all right. So my entry on gold will be at this price. I'll be entering at 190. 1900. 19. Right, so 190.00. That's my entry on gold. So the blue line you see is the entry on gold, a buy limit also. I'm anticipating a buy limit on that particular price. Let me price. That is my entry on gold. I see on the screen. That is 1902. That's my entry. And then my stop loss, we'll be setting a very tiny stop loss. Small stop loss at the setting our stop loss. Let's use 1899. My stop loss will be placed at 1899. 1899. That's my stop loss. Stop loss is at 1899. Right, and then where do we expect our TP? Our TP be at replacing the TP at All right, so my TP will be at 1920. That's my TP. My TP is at 1920. All right, so on gold, this is what we have. We are entering a buy limit at 1902. Our stop loss is at 1899. And then our take profit is at 1920. All right, please let me go through the chart. All right, so the next instrument we'll be looking at is all right, so let's look at USD CHF. Someone is saying we should look at USD CHF. All right, so this USD CHF. Now permit me to share my chart. All right, so on USD CHF, we can see massive movement on the downside. You know, the whole of this month have been moving all the way down. So, what do we expect? We have already seen that for this month, this all the way to about 50% of the movement from last month. Which means there's a high tendency for this movement to retrace the upside. We are still anticipating a replacement. On the H4, last week, this is how much we down from this level up here, which you can see all the way down to this level. Also retraced on that massive movement down, all the way down. So for this week, last week's activity, for this week, what should we be expecting? We expect a kind of retracement to this region before we sell to the downside. So on USD CHF, I'm anticipating not a buy. I'm anticipating a sell. USD CHF, not a buy. All right. So what do we do with this? So for USD CHF, I will enter an instant buy, an instant sell rather. Let me do. So on USD CHF is a sell. Sell at market price, so which means we can sell where we are currently. A stop loss above Friday's high price, and then I'll show you where the TP is. Our entry can be where we are right now. Sell. Let me. So we can sell at the current market price. So we can sell at the current market price. The stop loss at, let me place our stop loss at the stop loss at 0.9000. $0.90600, and then a take profit at below this. So my take profit will be at 0.89850. 0.89850. Entry at the current market price. Entry at the current market price. Stop loss at 0.90600. And entry is a sell. A sell. Sell. And then stop loss at 0.9600. Take profit at 0.89850. So on USD CHF, this is what I am anticipating, a movement to the downside. I'm expecting movement to the downside. Right, so let me look at that. So someone is asking for US fund. Let's quickly take US fund. Let me that once again. All right, so this is US 100. If you look closely, you notice that we've been in an uptrend for quite a while. And at the current situation, at the current position where we are, we see a larger time frame, the market is ranging. But why it is ranging, you notice that there's a steady movement to the downside. So we are making these lower highs. Lower highs are being formed. Market is forming highs that are getting lower, gradually pushing downside. Same time, if you look, notice this area of support below here. That is what we have here. So you can see the market is squeezing traders within this region, forming this range. All right, so on the higher time frame, we can see that we're already pushing to the downside. Now let's now drop down to on the H4. What do I see, or what do you see? I am anticipating a movement to the downside. So what I'm expecting on US 100 is movement to the downside, just like this. Down. So before then, is there any possibility of a retracement? Very likely. So let's check and see if there's a possibility of a retracement. Yes, there's a possibility of the market retracing. How far can it retrace? Now, this is an area where I am anticipating the US 100 will be retracing, which means for us to sell, rather wait for this instrument to retrace to this particular region. So I would rather wait for this instrument to retrace this region before I initiate sell. Now, I am going to be selling US 100. So what I am anticipating right now is possible push to this area before continue downside. This is what I am anticipating, something like this. Take note that on the higher time frame, we are already seeing the structure break to the downside. Seeing this leg, look at this area which created the most recent high, this area or this low created the most recent high, which is this high here, has been violated already. So this was the highest, this was the low that created this high price. This low has already been violated, which means the market has exceeded that low. And we have formed a new low, a new high. Look at the new high up here. We have just created a new high, which is this. And this new high is lower than the highest high so far. And this low, which created this new high, has also been violated. which means there's a high tendency for US 100 push to the downside. Now, where will it be pushing to? Most likely all the way down to this particular area where you see this portion, where we would likely push to and most likely break through. So this is a very strong support, as we can see. There's a high tendency for it to gravitate towards that particular region. What I am anticipating is sell on US 100. Sell on US 100. For those that are conservative, we want to wait for US 100 to retrace to around the region of 15235. 15235. That is for those that are very conservative. For those that will be very aggressive, that want to trade very aggressively, then and wait for a mild retracement on the current move, and then you take a sell. But like I said, we are selling this particular instrument. All right, so I think that's much we can take on the US 100. So what will I be doing? So I will be taking a sell trade at, so let me give you entries on the US 100. I will take a sell trade at 15220, 15222 rather, 15222, 15222, 15222.00. That is entry. So I will wait for the market to get to that price, 15220, a sell limit. A sell limit. So we are selling US 100, but a retracement is likely. So it's best to wait for that retracement to occur. 15222. And then a stop loss will be just above the high. The closer you enter to the stop loss, the better. So my stop loss will be at 15370. 15370. That will be the stop loss. And then my take profits, I'll be targeting this area of my take profit will be at this particular area. I'll be targeting 14800. Take profit. 14800. All right, so that is my take profit. So my take profit is at 14800. My entry is at 152. My stop loss is at 15370. Take profit is at 14800. So this is my analysis for US 100. All right, so let me quickly go through the chart and see if there are comments, questions. All right, so please, for those of us that are joined to this, please join our Telegram group link. Join our Telegram group. If you go through the chat, you will see the Telegram group link. Subscribe and like so that you can be receiving our trade hints daily. And also, you can go to our YouTube page, www.youtube.com/@rallytrade. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can receive latest updates on the market analysis. And this video, the recording of this particular session, is available on our YouTube channel. All right, so at this juncture, I'll be taking some questions. If you have any questions for me, based on what we have discussed, based on any analysis you would like us to look at, please drop your questions or in comments, the chat session. Any questions? Right, so Mr. Sunday, go ahead. Yes, for Pan USD is has a positive correlation with the Euro USD, which means whatever we have analyzed on the Euro USD is likely to still play out on the Pound USD, but in a more accelerated state. So Pound USD and Euro USD move alike, they move together, but the Pound USD is faster. You know, the movements are more than the Euro USD. So, but notwithstanding, we can just quickly look at the Pound USD so that you see that they are almost the same thing, just the same thing. The only difference you would see there is the pace. So look at this. So on Pound USD, we are seeing that the retracement which we are expecting on Euro USD has already occurred. Look at my chart, please. Take note that I said we are buying Euro USD. This is what I'm anticipating on Euro USD. So watch. On Euro USD, we are anticipating a movement to this area, which is our entry price, a buy limit at 1.05150. Or we see a movement to the upside. This is on Euro USD. Now on Pound USD, that retracement has already occurred. That retracement has already occurred. You can see the retracement already on Pound USD, which means we have already retraced as anticipated. So on Pound USD, we can take an instant buy. We can take an instant buy on Pound USD. The stop loss at 1.2150. So let me use 1.2130. All right, so an instant buy on Pound USD, stop loss at 1.2130. Okay, give me a few minutes. Let me just have this. Okay, sorry about that. So we are still expecting the retracement on the Pound USD. So I was looking at the wrong time frame. So the retracement is yet to occur. So we are still expecting the same retracement, which is the likely movement to the downside. Now, some of you might be asking this, why am I anticipating the movement to this side? But if you look closely, there's a very tiny gap here. There's a tiny gap. That is the gap that I am anticipating that this instrument will fill up before it proceeds to the main retracement, which is movement to the upside. So this is what I'm anticipating. So if you look at this retracement, this movement on Pound USD, this is Pound USD, you notice that it is the same thing we have on Euro USD. Look at it. So this is Euro USD. I'm looking at Euro USD here. And here we are looking at Pound USD. So it's almost, in fact, it's not almost the same thing. So any analysis you see on Euro USD is likely to play out the same way on Pound USD, only in an accelerated manner. So I want to believe that. That's answer. All right, so let me go through the question now. So I'm seeing the analysis on dollar and US suggests the dollar is strong. Yes, and we should buy. Analysis on all right, thank you very much. So when we talk of currency correlations, they are not 100%. The dollar might be weak or the dollar might be strong, and gold is buying. Gold is going up. It happened last week. If you look at your chart last week, by right, if the dollar is strong, then you should expect that gold will go down. But if you go and look at the charts, you will notice that dollar is strong, but gold is going up. USD CHF, the dollar was strong, you should expect USD CHF to go up, but USD CHF was going down. So it is not always the case that if the dollar is strong, then every other currency associated with the dollar will begin to move in accordance. Not always the case. There are a lot of other fundamentals outside of the charts that could play a major role why the dollar will not move. I mean, why other instruments may not move as anticipated. So it is not 100% rule that if the dollar is strong, every other thing should flow along. It's not. If you have just given you an example of gold, you look at the movement on gold. Look at this. Euro USD. This is pound USD. Pound USD has a movement to the downside. For last week, we saw massive movement to the downside on pound USD. But take note, if pound USD moved down like this, then it suggests that dollar is strong. Euro USD also moved down, which suggested that the dollar is strong. AUD USD moved down, which suggests that the dollar was very strong. But gold did not go down as anticipated. Gold went up. Gold wasn't going down. This is movement of gold. By right, we should also see gold go all the way down. If Euro USD is going down, Pound USD is going down, AUD USD is going down, then we should expect that gold should also go down. But gold did not go down. This is the chart on my screen. Gold went up. So it is not always the case that if the dollar index is strong, then every other thing moves along. I don't know if that is clear. All right, so I think I've taken these questions, and let's look at that question we have. All right, so someone is asking if USD 100 will retrace above 15200. All right, so let's quickly look at that. $15200. Yes, it is likely. So very likely that it will retrace above 15200. Very likely. So what that simply means is that your best bet for an entry on US 100 is within that region of 15200 to 15300, within that region. So this is, which is exactly my shaded portion. Look closely, you'll see this area shaded in red. That is the area between 15200 to 15300. So within that space, that's your best opportunity to sell. Even though right now it looks like it's actually selling, but I think the best place for you to wait within that region, because if you sell now and then it retraces to that point, then there's a massive, you have massive drawdown on your account. So it is best to wait for you to come within that region for sell. Now, so that you can place your stop loss above Friday's high price. This is Friday's high price. You want to enter your trade as close to this Friday's high price as possible. That is the check. So make sure that you're entering within this region, but let it be as close to this Friday's high price as possible. Your stop loss should be above Friday's high price on US 100, because once the market breaks above that high price, then there's a tendency that we are going to continue higher. But so long as that Friday's high price is secure, the market doesn't go above that high, then we may not go higher. To ensure that your stop loss is placed at the point where your analysis becomes invalidated. Above Friday's high price, that the analysis on US 100 will become invalid. So I don't know if that is clear. I want to believe that you understand my reply to that. All right, so I want to thank you all very much. You've been a wonderful audience. So we have already passed our allotted time. And for those of us that we want to rewatch the analysis, you can do that on our YouTube channel. Some of us, I will even suggest that you take a screenshot of my chart, so that from time to time you can make reference to it. Now take notes, you must always trade with stop loss, because stop loss is the only mechanism we have in store for us to protect our account and to ensure that our losses are controlled. So I want to thank you very much. And if you have any further questions, you can always use our available channels to reach out. Thank you very much.